Well, hi again, everybody. BTV Digger, thanks for joining me again here in northern Vermont. It's Friday, November the 18th. Trying to get out for the last few days before winter really sets in. Forecast says for snow probably later this weekend and the next week and getting a lot colder. But it's 50 degrees and sunny today, so I thought I'd get out and try a few more times before it got too harsh. And I've come up to an old cellar hole that I haven't really located before, but I thought I'd poke around up here a little while in the woods. And let me show you what I got on my first find. I've been here about 20 minutes, and this is a cool one. So let's turn around and take a look. And I will zoom in right here, and it's under these dirt clods right here. Bingo, boys and girls, look at that. Nice big old intact crotal bell. And it's got the eyelet in there, and it's totally intact. Sweet. So I'll get a ringer out of that, and I'll probably get a maker's mark on the back. I'm not sure if it says HB or WB. It's going to be one of the older varieties. So that is a sweet find, first find of the day. Fully intact, medium-sized crotal bell. I'll get you a cleaned up picture in just a minute, guys. Let's go find some more stuff. On to the next find. And here I am about 10 minutes later, folks, on my next find. About 5 inches deep. It's not too bad. Looks like I got myself my first flat button of the day. Very common find here in New England. Usually these are, at least these later styles of flat buttons, maybe 1830s, 1840s, are plain Janes. This one has got the shank sheared off there. But usually they'll say something like treble gilt or gold standard or something like that. A lot of these buttons were made in England back in the early to mid 1800s by the millions, really by the millions, and if not even more than that. So I don't think there's a design on that, but if there is, I'll come back and get you a close-up shot on it. But it's always a good find to find those old flat buttons from way back in the earlier part of the 1800s. Okay, let's go find some good stuff, guys. Maybe we can find a coin today. On to the next find. All right, guys, here we are at our next find. After that little flat button to that other cellar hole, I kind of moseyed on down the road to another cellar hole that I've been waiting to hit. It's really trashy in here. I've dug little bits of iron and tin flashing on the cellar hole lip and even in the yard. These people they just threw their stuff everywhere, but there's a lot of high conductivity targets in here that are small, and so I was encouraged that there'd be some stuff in here that people missed because there's just so much that you could still potentially dig, even though a lot of it's crud. But I finally got a decent one, and I said this is either a shotgun shell or a button, and I was right, it was a two-piece button. And this one's going to be a little bit sweeter, guys. This has got some sort of a design on it. I can't tell if it's not really a military button. I think it's just some sort of floral pattern on it. I'm not sure if it's got writing on it. It does. It's got some sort of writing around the edge. So let me get that cleaned off. It's a two-piece, so I'm thinking late 1800s, beyond 1850. But that is a cool find. Let me see what I got, and then I'll come back and get you a shot, okay? Let's find something else good here. I'm going to stay here for a while because that's something somebody shouldn't have missed. Well, I saw this big rock right here, and I started thinking, you got to look for signals in the woods around old home sites. That's a big enough flat rock that I thought people sat on that, because that didn't go anywhere even when the house was here. That thing is huge. It's half the size of a car. So I started just throwing my coil around here and got a really nice screaming signal about 6 inches deep, and look at that. Got my fourth or so pocket watch of the year. Of course, a lot of these times you get these pocket watches, the face is gone, but maybe I'll be able to get a maker's mark off the back of that. I'll have to toothpick that up and see. That's got about 2/3 of the watch there. But anyway, very nice. I will kick that any day. All right, let's find a few other things, guys. Well, folks, this site is turning out to be a really good site. I'm going to have to come back here a couple more times because I'm finding targets almost everywhere. I've dug a couple of little pieces of iron flashing, but there's just great signals everywhere. Maybe 5 minutes after that pocket watch. Look at that. I got another little flat button. Is that looks like a two-piece. Is that an eagle, or is that just, no, it's just a little floral pattern on it. Look at that. Like a little flower on there. Almost like a starfish or something, but that's, the back is kind of getting a little corroded, but it looks like an early two-piece style. Mid-1800s, maybe, something like that. Awesome find. That keeps getting, this place that keeps on giving. All right, let's go find something else. There's got to be an Indian head or a coin in here somewhere, guys. All right, on to the next. And to our next find, guys. Here we are. Not a bad find at all. Common buckle. You find tons of these at old cellar holes. Brass buckle with an iron tongue on it. Kind of picked it out between the iron. Again, very trashy sight, but there's goodies in here to get. Very nice. All right, let's go find something else. See if we can find a coin here, guys. On to the next find here. Well, I decided to change my way of thinking and come back to the old road, which you always can have mixed signals, you know, on the roads. You find a lot of modern stuff because this is ATV accessible, so you're going to find bottle caps. I mean, you got some crap in here like this. So you're going to find a lot of that, but there's also good signals in here because it's an old road, and they used to travel this for a long time. So I said, hey, let me give it a shot. Maybe I can get an old coin. And by doggone, if I just got an old coin, finally. Look down the hole and see what we got here. I think it's just an old penny, a wheat or an Indian. And it is an Indian head penny. Sweet. I will clean that up and get a date for you. You just got to go slow in here and then go along the hills. You know, the cellar hole's up there, so go along the side of the hills. Sometimes you can get targets because things roll down the hill if they dropped it, or you never know. But old roads are always a good place to take a gamble at and see if you can get an old coin. And I just grabbed myself an Indian out of here. All right, let's see if we can find a few more good things before I head home, guys. On to the next find. All right, let's see what we got in the hole here. Rang up pretty high, like brass or something. I saw something round and deep down in there. I don't know if it's the top of a bottle, but I think it may be. See that pin right there on the back? There's another one broken off. I think that's an old bridal rosette. Very cool. Yep, I believe that's exactly what that is. See the rope pattern on the edge that makes it decorative? And then it would have just had, sometimes these have lead backs on them, depending on how old. This one had an iron back, so the iron little attachments that would go into the side of the leather on the side of the strap have rusted off. But that's a cool little find. I'll kind of brush that up and see if I can get any detail. It looks like it's just plain on the front. Sometimes these things will have really nice designs on it. You've seen in some of my other videos, a few of the ones I've found that are pretty cool. This looks a little bit more plain except for the rope pattern around the outside. But I'll take that any day, an old bridal rosette. All right, it's starting to rain here a little bit, guys. I don't know if I'll find much else if it starts raining any harder. We'll see what we can find before I head out of here. All right, on to the next find. Well, it's raining, guys. It's starting to come down a little bit harder, and it's getting really dark. Sunset's about 4 o'clock this time of year, so c'est la vie in the North Country up here. It's time for me to head home, but I found a few good finds today. Crotal bell, a couple of those really nice buttons. Got that Indian head toward the end of the hunt before it started raining here. So I'm going to go back and clean that stuff up, and we'll give you a shot at everything in the paper towel wrap-up. We'll be back in just a sec. Okay, everybody, back inside the warm environment of the relic shack here to show you what we found. That was a great day. Cut about an hour short due to the rain right at the very end, but I did find a couple of really cool things. Dug the share of trash, like I showed you, some bottle caps and old iron and trash in the road and around some of those cellar holes. I'll definitely be back. There's 2 other cellar holes I haven't even been to yet, and another mile or so of road to walk. So there's probably some other good things lurking there, and I'll be back hopefully with another video if the snow doesn't set in permanently here in the next few weeks of December. But let me go over a quick wrap-up of what I got outside the trash I found. A couple of things I didn't get on film. This is another sleigh bell. You recall my earlier video, I found a strap with one of those on one of the other cellar holes. This is another style of one, just a style of sleigh bell there. So I kept that. These things, if you dig up in the eastern United States, even the Midwest, these are very common finds. These were like attachments to scythe handles, like a scythe that you would cut down weeds with, and this attached the wooden shaft to the and held the blade metallic part onto the wooden shaft. And you find these things by the dozens. I found a ton of these through the years, so I got that. I found this little interesting piece. It's made out of brass. Didn't get it on film. It's got a little attachment there. I'm not sure if that's part of a clock handle, maybe a little ticker, or an hour hand, maybe an hour hand to a clock. I'm just thinking off the top of my head. I'm not sure, but I did keep that. And then on to some of the better finds. I guess I'll go from the more mundane to the best stuff. I got my standard buckle. I always get one of those. That wasn't bad. An old flat button here. plain Jane on the front, and it's got some of that fancy cursive writing on the back you saw in the close-up shot. Early to mid-1800s. Again, in New England, these are 1790 to 1840 or so, something like that. Always fun to find those. Let's see what else I got. I got my Bridal Rosette, and I was right with the iron back. It's really falling apart, as you can see. It actually, it's come disattached in the back, but it's a brass front, and I just used a little Brillo on that. So always fun to find the old Bridal Rosettes. Here's my Crotal Bell. It cleaned up nice. It's got a little bit of a fracture, hairline fracture there along it, but it is intact, and you clean these guys out, and they will ring. Just like the other bells I found, if you got them intact, so that's always cool. Mid to late 1800s probably, something like that. It doesn't have a mark on the back. Sometimes you'll see initials on the bottom here, like WB or WH, and you can track a maker, but this one does not have one on there, but again, that's the time period of that. Got my watch case back here. This says Duber Silverine, Canton, Ohio. Again, the serial number in here is not completely indicative of when the watch was made because this is the watch plate back. It says 75191, but the 91 is separate from the 751, so I'm thinking 1891. Probably a close guess based off the age of the site. And again, it's just a plain back, and it still opens and everything, so it's cool. It's just missing the main clock portion of that. And then finally, probably my best few finds here. The two buttons, I've got this nice little floral button, still got some gold gilt on it. It's an iron back. Late 1800s probably. And then I've got my Indian head penny here. My bad luck streak continues on Indians. 18-something-7. I know that's tantalizing. Boy, you wish it was a 7 for the third digit, but those are so rare. I'm thinking 1887, 1897, based off the age of the site. But heck, it's an Indian. I'll keep it, and it's a little bit better shape if it weren't for the doggone date. The third digit worn off there, so that kind of was a bummer. And then this was my best find of the day. This was a West Chicago Street Railway button from Chicago, Illinois. What that was doing at a Vermont cellar hole, who knows? The date on that was 1887 to 1913. And the maker on the back, I believe it says Waterbury on the back. It's a two-piece. Excellent find. The West Chicago Street Railway was actually one of the precursor railways back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, before the Chicago Transit Authority system was built and consolidated in the 1940s. So these were some of the early trolley line railway systems in Chicago, and there were several of them. This was one of the larger ones, and this is a conductor's button. So that is really a sweet find. That's going to be one of my better finds of the year, honestly. And I didn't know it when I dug it at the site. I didn't know what I'd actually had, but love finding those old railroad memorabilia items, whether they're from Vermont or not. So anyway, that was my best find of the day. Okay, well, there you have it, folks. Another nice day hunting. I'm happy that you could join me on that and sharing some of my finds here. And hopefully, again, I'll be back here in the next couple of weeks for maybe another video or two. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we can keep the streak going before the snow sets in for the next few months. Until then, happy hunting and get out there and dig it up. It's waiting out there for you to find. This is BTV Digger.